Welcome to Meet the Author, where you can join in on insightful conversations with best-selling and award-winning indie published authors. Your hosts today are Rob and Joan, who themselves are indie published authors, book publicists, and paranormal investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits, based in Tampa Bay, Florida. Thanks for dropping by. And now, on with the show.
Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Joan. And believe it or not, as we just went live, StreamYard told us they are having trouble publishing on Facebook. So anyone that was trying to watch us on Facebook, they're not able to get in.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll find their way to
YouTube,
LinkedIn or YouTube or X, Twitter.
Twitter.
So,
Yeah.
Anyway, that's an inauspicious start.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hello.
So that's not an us problem. That's a StreamYard problem or Facebook problem.
Yeah, it's a Facebook problem, I think.
Yeah.
Because actually we were working. Nope.
Yeah. StreamYard's saying it may be an issue on Facebook ends. Yep. Okay. Well, let's get on with the show. So.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
Yeah.
All right. Want to let everybody know tomorrow night, WDJY 99.1 FM in Atlanta. You'll be hearing our show, 9 o'clock Eastern time. It's featuring author David Tyndall this week. And you can also listen to it online at www.wdjyfm.com. Saturday, episode Rewind will be live from San Leon. It's our episode that we did live from San Leon from Pier 6 restaurant there. Next Wednesday, 7 o'clock live here is Randy Weir. Reminding everybody we're now streaming on X Twitter as well. And hey, the last 30 days, the top 5 downloads of the audio. US, of course, was number 1, Russia number 2, Bangladesh number 3, UK is number 4, and Finland sliding in at number 5.
Wow.
I wanted to tell everybody about the new release. Joy York is the author. Protective Instinct is the book. When a best-selling author refuses to write biography for an infamous mobster, the consequences turn deadly. Sounds like a good book.
Sounds really good.
That's Protective Instinct by Joy York. That's all I've got. Do you have anything?
No, that's it. I'm sure people are going to be trying to reach us because they're trying to get in on Facebook and they can't. So
Right.
Our phone may be going off a lot.
Right. So let's bring in our guest here.
Yes.
Fellow Magnolia Bluff authors, Linda Pirtle and C.W. Hawes.
Hello, guys.
Greetings.
Hello.
What do you know? If it's not
Good to
one
see
thing,
you.
it's another, right?
Always.
Always, always. Well,
Murphy's
people
Law.
always. People will be able to watch it on YouTube later on. So
That's right. So how are we doing today?
Super.
Well, I don't know about CW, but I'm doing great.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing okay. The back's a little iffy, but hanging in there.
Well, my dog is
You do.
doing okay too. You can hear her.
She
to be
wants
in
out
the-
of that crate.
Yeah, I think I'll let her out. Otherwise, she's going to fuss. Excuse
Okay,
me.
we'll talk to CW.
That's right. So CW, you've got a book coming out next in
Yes.
the Magnolia Bluff series. It's book number 21, right?
In the series.
In the series.
Mhm.
And that comes out February 20th. Is that right?
Yes, February 20th.
Okay. And the title is Who Mourns Electra? So do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's number one, it's kind of the continuing story in Harry and Ember and their ongoing romance. And there's a little surprise in there concerning their romance. And I don't think I want to.
Oh, don't give any spoilers.
Yeah, I'm not going to let a spoiler. But anyway, there's a surprise in their romance there.
Awesome.
But basically, the story starts out, there's been a murder the previous week, and then there's another murder, and then there's another murder. And only that one is the lay leader in Ember's church. And Callie Taylor, the lay leader, and Ember have been at odds for quite a while. And so, of course, our favorite police investigator, Reese Sovereign, he's eyeing Ember as the key suspect in the whole thing. And of course, it just goes downhill kind of for Harry and Ember at that point. But
Right.
But
we
then
have a couple of comments already, if I can
sure.
interrupt you. Kelly Marshall says, Kelly here, I found you. Yeah,
Hey, Kelly.
StreamYard is having trouble with Facebook. Nobody that's trying to get on Facebook is able to come in. Joe Conjal said, hi, everyone. I had trouble getting in on Facebook. Yep. Just one of those things. Didn't happen until we went live.
No.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
So, well, is everything doubled for you guys?
Is everything double?
Yeah, I'm hearing you, and then I'm hearing you again. The same thing with myself.
There's feedback, you mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like echo.
Yeah, that's what feedback is. It's not. Is it for the people in the audience? Are you guys getting feedback, Kelly, Joe, and Robin?
I'm getting it a lot.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's life. But anyway, so as this,
it's not for her and it's not for Joe. So
hey, that's good to know.
You'll be our sacrificial lamb then.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So Harry and Ember, of course, they come under the gun of Reese Sovereign, and it's not so good. Of course, Harry has a real good lawyer, so that always helps. But the story is a bit of a takeoff on the Electra myth, and especially O'Neill's play Who Mourns Electra, or Mourning Becomes Electra. And so I kind of riffed off of his title for my title.
Awesome.
So
that sounds really good. I'm trying to find your book cover here. Everything got messed up. It disappeared. I'm trying.
There it is.
Oh, here it is. My goodness. Who Mourns Electra? I like the cover. I mean, it's kind of creepy, murdery.
Yeah,
Creepy murdery. That's the
you
style.
know, Crispian Thoroughborn, the cover artist, you know, he gave like a dozen different samples, and that one kind of jumped out at me.
Yeah, this really is good.
So that's the one I went with.
Robin says, I like it too. She said creepy
Good,
works.
good.
Yeah,
Creepy,
especially when you're doing a murder mystery.
yeah.
That bloody knife is the creepy part. It's like, what happened? How was that used?
Would you like to read a passage?
Yeah, I would. I have one here. I'm going to pick the first chapter. I was thinking of doing something else, and thanks, Joe. I was thinking of doing another section, and then every section I picked had something that was a giveaway. So I said, "Oh, crumb! I'm just going to go with the first chapter." All right. The setting is in February. So the 7th of February it starts. And we're early in the morning, 6:58 a.m. And Harry Thurgood, the owner of the coffee shop, is getting ready to open. Harry erased the chalkboard. "Good morning, Mr. Thurgood. Sorry I'm late." "Not a problem, Estrelita. All as quiet as you can see. No one's waiting to get in. One of these days, Mr. Thurgood. Hopefully. I was at church. I lit a candle and said a prayer for Lila." "That's fine. That was important." "Thank you. I still can't believe it. Another shocker, that's for sure. Do you need some time off?" "No, I'm all right. Now I'd best make sure these tables are okay." Harry smiled at that. She was a good worker, never complained. He turned his attention to the chalkboard and the daily specials, but his mind drifted back to a week ago. That was when Judge Rutherford B. Jones found the bodies of 16-year-old Lila Santiago and her 18-year-old boyfriend, Dwayne Sanford, star linesman for the Magnolia Bluff High School football team, brutally murdered in the parking lot of his Piccadilly bait and tackle shop. While the judge was saddened at the deaths of the two teenagers, he was more saddened by the negative publicity and that half of his small parking lot had been cordoned off with yellow crime scene tape. At least that was what Harry had heard from Tommy Yeager, chief of the Magnolia Bluff Police Department. The rumor mill speculated that the kids had to have been murdered by a strange monster that had risen out of the depths of Burnett Reservoir, and what the police were calling a knife attack was just a cover-up for the monster's 8-inch long fangs. After all, what kid standing 6'4" and weighing 210 pounds could get taken out in a knife attack? Graham Houston, owner and editor of the Magnolia Bluff Chronicle, had played up the monster angle, mostly, Harry suspected, because it sold newspapers. He shrugged his shoulders and began writing on the chalkboard. Mac and cheese, broccoli cheddar soup in a homemade bread bowl, chicken noodle soup, strawberry shortcake, homemade chocolate strawberry frozen custard, coffee of the day, Nicaragua Nuevo Segovia medium roast. The chalkboard complete, Harry unlocked the front door and set the bifold board outside on the sidewalk next to the door. The really good wood-fired coffee shop was now open for business. He noticed Fergus, the mostly reformed town drunk, coming across the green and held the door open for him. Morning, Fergus. Morning, Mr. Thurgood. Make sure McGill locks up the knives. Make sure he does, because they're dancing through the streets. Dance of the butcher knives, and it ain't by Bach. Now, what's going on? Harry asked himself. Is he still talking about last week's murder? He decided he didn't want to deal with the old vet this morning and let the guy's comment drop. Have a seat over there, Fergus. Are fried eggs, bacon, toast, and hash browns okay? Yes, sir, Mr. Thurgood. Coffee, too, if you don't mind. It's always really good. He chuckled at the joke. You got it, my man. Harry gave the order to Miguel, who was cracking eggs into paper cups for the morning breakfast. Estrelita waved Harry off as she poured coffee into a mug and took it to the old vet. The chime over the door rang. Harry turned and saw the love of his life and fiancée, the Reverend Ember Cole, coming into the shop. With a big smile on her face, she said, "Good morning, Mr. Thurgood." "And a hearty good morning to you, Reverend Cole." She was wearing a heavy black wool cardigan that reached down to her ankles, and covering much of her Dutch bob was a black Saturno. "A bit nippy out there this morning," Harry said. "Yes, it is. A brisk walk helps to generate some heat, though." She removed her sweater and hat and put them on the counter stools. "Man, Rev, you're looking mighty attractive. You like it?" Ember twirled around to show off her new dress. It was a black A-line with long sleeves and an ankle-length hemline. The dress had a clerical collar with tabs, black stockings, black Mary Janes, and a gold pectoral cross completed the outfit. Fergus called out, "Mighty nice, Reverend. Maybe a red scarf to add some color." Ember laughed. "I'll keep that in mind." "What's with the new look?" Harry asked. "I just wanted to be more feminine." "Well, you succeeded. And quite admirably, I might add. I want to be pretty for you." "You're more than that. You're beautiful." "Thank you. That means the world to me." A siren shattered the morning stillness, and flashing lights added to the ugliness. "Oh, goodness," Ember said. "I hope it's not another murder." From the corner came Fergus's voice. "The knives! They're dancing again!"
Oh, dear. Very good. We enjoyed it. Very nice. I can't wait to read it.
Thank you.
Paul Hollis says, "Hey, everybody, couldn't find you all on Facebook." Yep,
Yeah,
Facebook and
went-
StreamYard are not syncing at all. We didn't know until we started to broadcast.
Yeah.
And Joe Conjal says, "I love it. Comfort food menu with an exotic coffee selection. You gotta love Harry." We love Harry. He's in our book. You'll hear about that a little later. Robin Madrich says, "Love it. Love the characters. Sounds so good." Kelly Marshall, "You are such a great reader." Joy York says, "Great
Joy.
reading." Joe Conchal says, "Awesome reading, CW." Robin Madrich says, "The reading was great too."
Robin,
And by the way, Robin Madrich and Joy Conjal, Joy York. I just married Joy and
Yeah.
Joy. I hope you're happy together.
Congratulations.
Are the newest members of the Tampa Bay Spirit team. So we're
Yes.
very, very happy. So Joy couldn't find us on
No.
X either.
No, she
Great.
found us on X.
She said,
She's on
"Oh,
X.
on X."
Yeah. She just
Okay.
must.
On X.
She
Okay.
transposed.
You
No.
had a dyslexic
on.
moment
There
there.
you go.
And Kelly Marshall says, "Harry's is very Cosmo." Yeah, well,
Yeah,
Harry is
very
very
Cosmo.
Cosmo.
Cosmo Topper.
We
Okay.
need to stop and take a
We need to take our first
sponsor
break. that sounds really good. And once again, that was a reading from Who Mourns Electra, Book 21, Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles. That comes out February 20th. Okay, and should we go ahead and do the, before we do our little break, or maybe we'll do that when we first come back.
Let's take the break real quick.
Let's take a break.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take a break. I'm past ready to take a break. Fine.
The clock is ticking. Can Gracie uncover the truth?
Philip Pliant is the wealthy opportunist plastics dealer and CEO of Pliant Industries. He's also a master thief, creating a pervasive threat to the manufacturing infrastructure in the Caribbean islands markets. With the cartel as his stealth client, the naive city leaders have been seduced, enabling the production of more than three-dimensional building materials.
The expected profits are monstrous.
Is the art group, now led by Gracie and the family heirs, strong enough to win against this predator?
Can JJ's cats act on the root cause analysis in time?
Will Gracie be able to squash Pliant and the cartels?
Gracie never considered their lives would hang in the balance. The clock is ticking. 5, 4, 3.
Many secrets are hidden within the darkness of the jungle. Now comes part 4 in the Jaguar series by retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. In this saga, Brandon, Andrea, and Naja, the Black Jaguar, go deep into the Mato Grosso jungle on a mission to rescue 2 kidnapped children. During their journey, they encounter many dangers, including Yanomami Indians, bent on revenge for the murder of one of their warriors.
Return of the Jaguar is book 4 in the Jaguar series, starting with 2 faces of the Jaguar, the Lost City, and the Jaguar's Quest. All 4 are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other bookseller websites worldwide. Return of the Jaguar is a must-read.
It's 1919, and Eric Laska returns from the war in Europe. 2 new enemies await him in the small, coal-mining town he calls home. One is a threat to his relationship with Rebecca, the love of his life. The other, a bloodthirsty beast, is stalking the mining town residents. The townspeople suspect Eric of one of the killings. An old man and Rebecca's 11-year-old sister have seen the beast, but only Eric believes their story. To protect the town and clear his name, he's forced to prove the werewolf exists. Available on Amazon. The Horror Within by Marjorie Swift Doring.
And we know that's Deering, but that's okay.
We're back.
Nassim Pramali says, "Dear brother-in-law Chris, I didn't know you had such a good eye for dress styles. A nice red scarf that put the cherry on the ice cream." Sorry, my Bostonian just came out there. Scarf.
Okay, before we talk to Linda, let's get CW's information up here. And this is where you can reach CW. It's www.cwhawes.com. That's for those that are just listening, that's CWHAWES.com. And his email is cwhawes@cwhawes.com. That's pretty easy. And the book giveaway for everybody, once this is published, the first 3 people to email cwhawes@cwhawes.com will win an ebook copy of Who Mourns Electra upon February release.
That looks awesome. It sounds awesome. And just to let you all know, we're going to go over the hour tonight. At the end of the hour, we'll be saying goodbye to the Atlanta listeners, but we'll continue. So we'll come back to CW and come back to Linda.
Yeah.
But we'll just get each one of us in before the hour.
Right.
So that's the way we'll do it.
Right.
We got a little rattled with the Facebook thing, but we're okay now. We're back on track.
We're fine. We're fine. Okay. So we'll put all that back up again.
We'll put it all up after the end of the hour. Yeah.
All right. So now,
Linda.
we haven't had this up.
Yeah, we
during
have.
this whole thing. So,
Linda, want to tell us the name of your book and, you know, a little bit about it without giving away any spoilers?
I'll try to do that. The name of my book is Girlfriend Retreat, ... cheaper than therapy. And I want to tell you what inspired this story. I have a group of girlfriends whom I have known since elementary school. And I guess for the past 20 years or so, we get together the first weekend in February, and there are no excuses. You be there or you be square. We have a lot of fun when we get together. And so last year we were in Tyler, Texas, and we were at a little, I say little, a nice hamburger place where you go to the counter and you place your order. Well, you know how it is when you get a group of women together, they just talk. And the poor person behind the counter just has to wait for the orders to come through because they have to read the whole menu. And there were a couple of young men standing around, and my friend named Marita was trying to be very helpful to them. And since the other register had opened and there was someone standing there waiting to take someone's order, she sweetly suggested that they just move over to that line. It'd be faster for them. One of the guys didn't take very kindly to her suggestion. And so he kind of made a snarky remark. And I think she said something like, well, I was just trying to be helpful. Well, if you harass me anymore, I'm calling the police. So when she told us about that, I said, you know, that's just too good. I have to put that in one of my books. She said, that's okay. You can use my name. I said, good, I'll do that. Well, we were sitting at the table by that time, and someone from the other end of the table said, well, if you use her in your book, I want to be in there too. And so it ended up being every one of those girls wanted to be in my next book. And I said, well, if you're in there, you've got to give me written permission to use your name. And they've been teasing me lately on the emails. They have no idea what I've done to them in this book. And they decided that if they don't like it, they're just going to excommunicate me to Oklahoma. So
and we all know what that means for a Texan.
right. And so anyway, when I got all their permissions to use their names, and by the way, I've just used first names, I haven't used last names. I decided that we were going to be young. We weren't going to be the retired group that we are. We're going to be in our 40s. We're going to be beautiful. We're going to have exciting careers. So I listed the careers and sent it all out. And one of them, whom I had made a model, emailed me back and said, oh, I've always wanted to be beautiful. So
that is so cool.
You know, and they just talk to each other tongue in cheek, kind of like the ladies in Steel Magnolias. If you remember that movie, that kind of tells my age too. But the story, they've decided that they are going to go to Magnolia Bluff and spend the weekend at the Circle R Ranch. And so when the story begins, when they all arrive, that's where the action is going to begin. They face one chaotic element after another for the whole weekend. So, but they survive. Others don't. Others don't. They can leave making behind them, you know.
Joe Condrell says, hi, Linda. I love that you're giving your girlfriends a touch of immortality. And Robin Major laughed and said, that's great. It is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
We think it's really cool too. Would you like to do a reading?
I would. I would like to preface it with this as well.
Okay.
We lost a really good friend from our class not too long ago, and he was a poet. And he was really sick, and I called him one day, and I said, "Would you write a poem for me to use at the beginning of the book?" And he said, "Oh, yes." He said, "Linda, you have given me a purpose for today," because he was in a lot of pain. And so I want to read the first stanza of the poem that he wrote. Fabulous friends are always completely faithful and true, and never hesitate a moment to circle their wagons around you. I had specifically asked that he write about friendship, and that's just the beginning of the poem. And he knows all of the girls in this group really, really well, and he knows how close we are to each other. So that poem at the beginning of the book means a great deal to me. As a friend, he did that for me. And it was one of the last poems he wrote. So, as the section that I'm going to read to you right now, the women are at the Circle R Ranch. They are sitting around the pool. They're going to relax. The maid has brought snacks and drinks and what have you out there. Romero Martin is there with them. He's the only male sitting out there now, or standing, but he is their chauffeur for the weekend. But he's also their bodyguard based upon some things that happened in Magnolia Bluff prior to their arrival. So every year the tradition is we have to tell a funny story about something to us during. These girls like to ham it up and like to show off and entertain each other. And so that's what's going to happen in this particular scene. The show began. Sharon, the MC, held her mic out for Anita. Miss Fashion Anita, would you like to say a few words about your latest design? Anita took the mic, aka a can of hairspray. My latest creation is perfecto for an afternoon beside the pool on a big Texas ranch with the sound of oil wells pumping black gold from the distance. Sharon shaded her eyes and peered at the distant horizon as if she were on a frigate searching for land. She shook her head. You mentioned Texas. Please explain what makes your newest line of swimwear set the tone for a perfect trip west of the Lampasas River. Note the colorful footwear, ma'am, Anita said. Well, how could she not? Heckled Janie. The remark brought a round of laughter from the audience. Jana gave a loud, indignant harump. With one hand on her hip, she shook her head and said to Anita, you know, some people don't appreciate high fashion when they see it. She swiveled on one foot and extended one leg to draw attention to the hand-stitched boot with pink tulips floating up the outside. She looked at Anita. They need to know, don't you think? Anita nodded. You see, ladies, we're city girls. We've heard all about those wild redneck cowboys and how they like to grab young innocent females, throw them on their ponies, and ride away into the sunset. They can only hope, said Barbara. But innocent? Those two? I don't think so. I bet they'll be disappointed if they aren't abducted, said Janie. And we'll never hear the end of it, Caroline remarked. But if they are, they'll never stop bragging, Cheryl added. Jenna ignored their comments. So we decided, what did you decide, asked Sharon. To be prepared for anything, Marita asked. Yeah, responded Jana. Mariachi music filled the air. Anita and Jana danced around the pool, showing off their swimsuits and Lucchese boots, waving their sombreros in the air. Laughter and hand claps urged them on. When the music ended, both women fell into chairs and fanned themselves. Romero grinned and said to Marita, who had stood up and was going to the bar for a drink. He asked, "Has anyone ever called you girls rowdy?" Marita turned to the others. "Hey, girls, this handsome dude thinks we're rowdy." "He ain't seen nothing yet," Jana crowed. "Why, when we were in school, we were known as the—" Her comment was caught short by the sound of a gunshot echoing its way across the ranch. A bullet struck a pane on one of the French doors and glass scattered everywhere. "Down!" yelled Romero. And that's the beginning of all the chaos and mayhem these girls face for the weekend.
That was great. That was really good.
Really good.
I liked that.
Now we got to find out what happens.
I know.
Yeah,
That was really good. I like that shot
Thank
ringing
you.
out and stuff. That
Thank
was
you.
so cool. Because you don't expect it.
No. Hey, we're all having a good time.
Oh, why did they choose Magnolia Bluff?
And you know, I'm working with Crispian on the cover, and I'm really anxious to see what he comes up with because I gave him so
Yeah.
many different ideas. You know, you could have a scene from the ranch, from the pool, from the other things, but I can't tell you those because I don't want to ruin it. But
Yeah, don't. Kelly Marshall says, "Wow, can't wait to read it." I know, me too. Joe Conjal said, "Awesome reading, Linda. Love the play between the girls. That is, until the gunshot."
Thank you. Thank
Robin
you very
Major
much.
says, "Sounds exciting, and I love rowdy ladies." And Joy York says, "Enticing setup." I wonder why that is, Robin. Maybe because we're a bunch of rowdy ladies.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
We like to have a good time.
Absolutely. Let's bring up her.
Yeah, let's see where we can see Linda's work.
Find Linda's work.
If you go to Indie Book Source, that's INDIEBOOKSOURCE.com, you can search her under the author section and she'll come right up.
Under Linda Pirtle.
Yeah, under Linda Pirtle. Otherwise, if you go to indiebooksource.com /books by Linda Pirtle, that's Pirtle, you'll go right to her page and her books are there and all the links for social media and everything are there as well. And then, of course, we've got her, if you want to write to her, it's lsgp2019@yahoo.com.
That's her email.
Yeah, I'm not going to spell that. Anyway, so anyway, that's book 22 in the series. That's Girlfriend, Cheaper Than Therapy. And that comes out March 20th. We don't have the book cover yet. But the book giveaway, she will give the book away upon publication. The first 3 people to email lsgp2019@yahoo.com will win an ebook copy of Girlfriend Retreat, Cheaper Than Therapy. And that's upon the March release.
But also, if anyone is interested in getting a paperback, and will that be autographed, Linda?
It will be, yes.
Then the first one to ask for that in the United States only, I'm sorry, everybody else, but just in the United States, Linda will be giving away one autographed paperback. So
we'll be glad to.
Yes. So please.
Exciting times.
Yes, it is. Both of those books sound good. Robin Major says, "Oh yeah," and Kelly Marshall says, "Hell yeah, that we're a bunch of rowdy girls that like to have fun and know how to have fun." Oh, Joy and Robin are coming on our investigation at Gettysburg in June, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Well, I guess we probably ought to take our
next break.
Next break.
We're going to be able to come back after we say goodbye to the Atlanta audience and talk to CW, Linda, and RC and JP, which happens to be Rob and I. Robin says, "Yes, can't wait." Neither can we. She's talking about the Gettysburg investigation.
All right. And when we come back, we'll talk to you about our new book.
Yes.
Sound good?
Have a reading.
And have a reading. How about that? Not a psychic reading, but an actual reading. Don't go away.
It's every parent's worst nightmare. Police officer Madison Jackson awakes to discover her baby kidnapped from her crib. Was it revenge for someone she arrested, or something far more sinister? Madison's estranged husband is incarcerated in Supermax. As the second in command of a deadly Mexican cartel, did he issue the order to abduct their daughter? Bye, Baby, Bye, from author Kelly Marshall. Get your copy today.
Paradise, My Prison. Charlie Flint awakens from a deep sleep and finds himself alone on a tropical beach surrounded by a palm tree jungle and exotic animals. He cannot remember who he is or anything about his life. First, he must find food and build shelter and protect himself from hidden dangers. As his memory gradually returns, it reveals what a very flawed person he is. A man who made too many mistakes, made too many enemies. The implications of the truth are staggering. How did Charlie get there? And will he save himself? Paradise, My Prison is the riveting new suspense thriller from retired Hollywood scriptwriter George Dismukes. Paradise, My Prison by George Dismukes is available in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats worldwide.
Step into the captivating world of skullduggery, where a family of isolated peasant copyholders finds themselves thrust into a web of danger that threatens their very existence. Set against the tumultuous backdrop of the English Reformation, this meticulously researched historical mystery unfolds with a cast of both lovable and despicable characters, immersing you in a fully realized world that's both utterly believable and fantastically unbelievable. Author Paul Rushworth Brown weaves a spellbinding narrative that transports you to Yorkshire, England, in the 16th and 17th centuries, offering an authentic and gritty portrayal of peasant life. The pages come alive with vivid descriptions, crafting an atmosphere that pulls you deeper into a story of crime, murder, and suspense like no other.
Hi, I'm Paul Rushworth Brown, author of Skullduggery, Red Winter Journey, and Demon Courage, just recently released. I hope you enjoy Skullduggery, the second edition. Cheers.
Yeah, we're back.
Yes. So you want to tell us about the book?
Sure. Our book's, the name of it is called A Chance of a Ghost. And we wrote it, or we're writing it. We're almost done with it. Danny and Maria, they moved their family from Tampa to the outskirts of Magnolia Bluff. They found a 150-year-old old Victorian mansion, and they spent the last year and a half renovating it. It had been abandoned for years. And during the renovations, they would hear noises and floorboards would creak and that sort of thing. And they didn't think a whole lot of it until their son woke up screaming one night that there was a shadowy man at the foot of his bed. And so Danny immediately called his cousin in Tampa. And so Mike and Maureen are investigators with Tampa Bay Spirits.
Which is a real team that we belong to. And
yeah.
as I said, Robin and Joy now belong to.
Yeah. So as soon as they got the call, they headed out to Magnolia Bluff. And Maureen sees a shadowy figure walking through the house. And the closer they get to Magnolia Bluff, Mike feels like someone's going to be murdered. And he starts having these visions of it happening. So we don't know what's going to be happening, but Mike and Maureen are going to be doing investigations. They're going to be real investigations like we do. And then there's also that murder element. We don't know who's going to get killed.
Well, we do, but you don't.
Yeah. So you're going to have to stay tuned. But anyway, we would like to read the first chapter. Would you like to do the honors?
I will read the first chapter.
All right. This is Chance of a Ghost. It's book number 23 in the Magnolia Bluff series.
3 years ago, it was a warm June night in the Texas Hill Country. Crickets were chirping their monotonous song while a gentle breeze occasionally made its way through the open windows at the station. The duty officer sat diligently at his desk, trying his best to stay awake while listening to the static on the police radio behind him. He never looked forward to his turn in the barrel, watching over the sleepy little town of Magnolia Bluff during the night shift. Fortunately, he had the hourly check call from patrol to look forward to. If he was lucky, there would be an occasional dog barking complaint that he could dispatch him out to resolve. So far, the crickets were making more noise than anything else in town. As the clock made its way closer to 3 a.m., the dispatcher's eyes were getting very heavy. Suddenly, the 911 line lit up and exploded with sound. He leapt into action, almost falling out of his chair as he spun around to grab the handset. 911, what is your emergency? He demanded. There was no response on the other end of the line. He repeated his request 4 times with the same result while he wrote down the address to relay to patrol. The call terminated on its own. He grabbed the radio microphone. Dispatch to Alpha 1. Alpha 1, go ahead. We have a 911 call out at the old Farnsworth house on Baseline Road, and there was no one on the line. Over. That place has been empty for years. Are you sure that's where it came from? Maybe it's a glitch in the system. Over. No doubt about it. Chief Yeager won't be happy if we don't follow up. Head out there and check it out. Over. Wilco, out. Officer Jenkins hit the lights and siren and sped off toward the Baseline Road. He knew the Farnsworth house had been abandoned at least 5 years ago when old George Farnsworth passed away. That was before he had even joined the police force. He had always heard rumors of dark things that had happened there leading up to Farnsworth's death, but never had any confirmation. Patrolman Jenkins ruminated about the possibilities during the entire 10-minute drive, feeling more and more apprehensive as he neared his destination. Finally, as he rounded the last curve, he saw the deserted mansion appear off in the distance, illuminated by the hazy moonlight. He killed the siren as the patrol car eased off the highway and made its way up the quarter-mile-long, partially overgrown driveway. About halfway to the house, the patrolman slammed on the brakes. He rubbed his tired eyes as he stared intently at the massive house in front of him. 30 seconds ago, he could have sworn that he saw a light coming from a partially boarded up window in a front room, and a shadow passed by before it. Then it all went dark again. It was as if someone was walking around in the dark with a candle. Now it was totally dark. He killed the lights on the squad car as he sat for a few minutes, waiting for the light to reappear through the window. He felt beads of perspiration form on his forehead and thought to himself that maybe he should call for backup. After 5 more minutes of deliberation, he dismissed that idea and decided to pull in the driveway the rest of the way and investigate on his own. He left the car running as he climbed the grand stairway up to the massive front porch. The door was locked, solid, with no signs of forced entry. Jenkins pounded on the door several times. Officer Jenkins, did you call for help? No reply. Hello, I'm responding to a 911 call. Do you need help? He pounded on the door once again. Is there anyone in there? Are you injured? Do you need help? Silence. Spiderwebs and weeds had invaded what was once a welcoming entryway to the stately home. All indications pointed to no one being here for a long, long time, and there was no sign of a break-in. Officer Jenkins went slowly and cautiously around the entire perimeter of the house, checking to make sure all the doors were locked and that all the windows were secure. There were no sounds except for the crickets and an occasional owl hooting in the trees nearby. There were no lights to be seen except the beam from his flashlight. No indication of anyone injured or endangered. No sign of any teen's misadventure going awry. No sign that anyone could have made a 911 call from this address. There was no one there but him. Returning to his car, he radioed back to dispatch and reported his status. Dispatch concurred that he should head back to town. Breathing a sigh of relief, Jenkins turned the car around. As he started forward, he glanced in his rearview mirror. A gray face with sunken, empty eyes stared back at him from the rear seat. Slamming on the brakes, he jammed the car into park and leapt out, drawing his revolver, and opened the back door. The back seat was empty. Officer Jenkins wasted no time getting back in the car. Accelerating out onto the highway and returning to town, he avoided looking in the rearview mirror for the entire trip home. There would be no mention of the gray-faced ghoul in his report, nor did he ever speak of it. Some things were better forgotten. That was the last reported incident at the old Farnsworth estate until now. That's the first chapter. Joe Conjol says, great title. Yes, thank you. We like it. Robin Major said, love the title and the premise. So
that's it.
That's it.
That sounds enticing.
Thank you. Joe Conjol says, love it, love it, love it. Awesome reading. Thank you, Joe. Yeah, we're having fun writing this one. Great first chapter, Robin said. Thanks, Robin. Exciting reading, Kelly Marshall said. Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, we're really having fun writing this one because it's about what we actually do. I mean, we don't see gray-faced ghouls sitting in the back seat of our car ever, but
we'll let you know.
How do you two write?
How do we write?
Alternate? Do you? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you're a team, but does one do the main writing or
no? We both write, and like I'll have an idea or he'll have an idea and he'll write it all down, and then the two of us go over that and we tweak it until we both like the way it sounds. There have been a number of things in this book that he's thought of and said, let's go this way, and other things that I've thought of and I said, okay, this is what I want to do. So whose ever idea it is for whatever we're doing then kind of takes the main run with it, but it all works together. It all meshes together. Right now, go ahead.
No, do you do it like by chapter by chapter?
Yeah, that was my question.
Sort of. Sometimes, actually, I've kind of wrote about the antagonist here.
He's writing about the
antagonist thread, which will be diced in a couple of chapters.
I'm writing about the ghosts.
So, and then we'll dovetail them together. So.
And then we're both writing about the family and the couples. Mm-hmm. Right. And also Harry is in it, and his shop features in it quite a bit. We've got some comments here. Kelly Marshall said it drew me in for sure. Good. Paul Hollis said, fantastic reads, one and all. I'm excited to read them. Joe Conjol said, question, can you tell us how your collaboration writing works? You both write chapters.
How's that, Joe?
Yeah. CW beat me to the question, he said.
Do you pretty much know how it's going to end when you start developing the story?
No, we're pantsers. Yeah. So, I know that you are a plotter. We actually, and it's funny because Rob had a dream, and this was about the antagonist, and that's why he went with that. And then I had one about the ghosts, about a different spin on how we present them, completely different than we talked about for the book, but I really like it. So that's how we do it. And like I said, now he's had the idea for the antagonist, and then we've gone over all of that and figured out where to put it in and honed it down. We both do that part, so it's very collaborative. Kelly Marshall said, you're so busy with other things in your life. I'm impressed you're writing a novel. Thanks. Mary Ann Eckert says, Linda, we can't wait to read your book. Joe Conjol said, who does the typing? We both do. I'm on my computer and he's on his. So
on both, and then But anyway, Kelly, maybe we have a ghost writer.
Whoa.
We do not. We are writing it ourselves.
The ghost isn't doing it. Well, we need to
let people
do
know how to
something
reach
here.
us, and then we can sign off. Okay.
There you go. Sure. Good idea.
Okay.
This is very weird.
Yes. So our website is carternovels.com. Easy. CARTERNOVELS. And our email is carternovels@AOL.com. That's how old we are, folks. We're still on AOL.
And our book giveaway is the first 3 people to email us at carternovels@AOL.com will win an ebook copy of A Chance of a Ghost upon release in April. It's April 20th, I guess. Don't have it out there yet, but that's what we're targeting.
And so right now we need to say,
yes, everyone sit tight, stay right where you're at, don't leave. We want to thank and say goodnight to all of our listeners in the Atlanta area on the radio station. Please join us again next week on Meet the Author podcast, same time, same place.
Hopefully Facebook will be up and running by then.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to mark that for editing purposes?
Mark it with a B.
Okay.
Okay, now we can.
Now we can relax and we can talk as long as we want, you guys. Let's see. Robin Matrix says, I'm really impressed by your ability to collaborate. I've often wondered if I could do that. And then I think, nah. And Joe Conjal says that Rob is the king of the dad jokes. Yeah.
He really meant dad jokes.
And Kelly Marshall says, old is good. The alternative is, well, you know, yeah. We say that all the time, as a matter of fact.
Let's change the band.
Yeah, we can hide our
I'll put the big one on.
novel. There we go. Here we go.
Nope.
Yes, and we want to rewrite under RC and JP Carter. Oops, sorry. Wrong one. Okay. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about your book, CW, since we had to rush through everybody at the beginning there?
Well, I think that it's a bit challenging when you're writing, months and months apart to keep kind of some sort of continuity with your characters in a storyline, So, I've had to think of, from the first book, it was like a year and a half to the second book. And so I had to think, okay, so what's going on during that whole time, what everybody else is writing, and then what would be going on with Harry and Ember and all of that, and then kind of pick the story up again. Now, from October to February, that's a shorter span of time, thank goodness. But it's, it's not how I normally write. I mean, when I'm writing my other series, I'm just sort of bing, writing these books out. And, now you get this gap, and then you have everybody else writing, and sometimes they're using your characters, sometimes they're not. And you have to, make sure that what they've said, you at least have it in your head when you're writing your current ones. So in this new one, it's a shorter span of time from the October book. And so that's been a little bit, for me anyway, a little bit better in maintaining flow. And I like this new book. I'm furiously trying to get it typed up before next June, really. But
I hope so.
Yeah, I'm just a terribly slow typist. I hate typing. But as I'm going through it, and when I type, I actually do my first editing. So I handwrite it and then I type and edit. And so far, I really like the novel. I like how it flows and everything, and I like the story not only the murders, but the story of Harry and Ember and how that's been unfolding. And it's been really fun for me. So I hope that all comes through for the readers. But for me, it's been really, really a fun book to write.
And Linda, do you have anything else you'd like to say about your book?
Well, I agree with CW when you've got that space of time. However, I feel as though I live in Magnolia Bluff because when I'm not writing, I'm reading somebody else's book that happens in Magnolia Bluff. And, it's a strange thing because I see people in the shops when I'm buying groceries or going to the bank, and I'm thinking, it would be a good character for Magnolia Bluff. So it is a lot of fun to live in La La Land most of the time. And I think if you're an author, especially a fictional author, the way we are, that's where you are. And when you start dreaming about your characters, you are totally immersed. Now, there are a few characters that I've noticed that all of the authors in this group, called the Underground Authors, they love the characters. Everybody loves Harry Thurgood. They meet there every morning. And that's where Caroline says the gossip mongers of Magnolia Bluff meet every morning to solve all the world's problems and to discuss their neighbors. Though they would go, fight to the death to help a neighbor out if they need be. In fact,
Right.
Jager says that he would fight for so in the book that I'm writing right now. There are characters that, especially Sovereign, the detective, nobody really respects Sovereign.
Yeah,
none of the authors like Sovereign. And even
Maurice.
Right. Even Caroline's friends think he's kind of unreliable, to say the least. But everybody likes Buck Blanton, the sheriff, the county sheriff. Everybody likes Caroline. And I think everybody likes Magnolia, Nadine, and Daphne. Daphne's kind of flaky. She's the beauty operator, the typical stereotype of the person. But everybody trusts her and confides in her. There are two women that are very mysterious, and one is named Trinity. She has a shop that has all of the crystals and things that a medium would use. And then there's Bliss, who is Cindy Davis's character, who sees paranormal. She sees everybody's aura. And they make a really good cameo appearance in the book that I'm writing because they know what's going to happen before it happens. Now, whether anyone believes them or not is a different story.
One of our characters knows what's going to happen also.
Yeah.
And that gets
character
to be
will have to get together with Bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I asked this question to my critique group here a while back, so I'm going to ask you two this. Do you remember O. Henry's short story, The Ransom of Red Chief?
Yes.
Okay. Well, because I really want to appeal to a younger audience, and I've asked several people if they remembered that short story. Some of them look at me as though, I don't think so, never heard of it. I mention it, and then I have to explain it in this particular book. So you know that someone's going to be abducted. I won't tell you who.
Okay. Joe Conjal has a question for you, CW. Do we get to catch up with the Rustin family in this book?
Well, we have a little bit with Oraline, who is one of the daughters. We see a little bit of Joetta, who's another daughter, the oldest daughter. She's with Landon Pace, who was the intern at the newspaper, and they've become a couple, and they have a little bit of a cameo, I suppose. And then Elisha Reston, one of the boys, he's kind of working with Harry on the frozen custard enterprise in the book. So we see a little bit of them in the book. There's a brief thing with Jerlene, the mother. So, but
CW, you're quite the matchmaker.
But we'll probably see more of the Restons, particularly Oraline, in the next book after this.
Cool.
Don't you love the names he comes up with?
They make me laugh, some of them, really a lot. And I love the way Ember looks a lot. I mean, I can really see her. We use Ember and Harry in our book.
I think everybody uses Harry.
Well, he's so prominent.
Fergus. Yeah. Fergus is everybody's pet.
Robin Madrich says, CW, a long time between books is difficult enough, but with
it is a big job to coordinate, Robin. And you know what? I don't really do any coordinating, unfortunately. So
yes, he does. We call him all the time. She says, but with others contributing to the Magnolia Bluff stories, that has to be really hard to coordinate.
It is. And CW does a fabulous job.
He does. We're always calling him.
Yes, he does. And
well, yes. I mean, you know, a lot of y'all do, you know, in the group call and ask for information. And if I don't know it, I say, well, then ask the group, because I may have missed that, you know, but yes, I do try to be the librarian for the group.
Joe Conjal says Harry is the center of Magnolia Bluff.
Everybody goes to Harry's.
And Charles Brakefield says, agreed. Hello, Charles. Glad that you're here. Yeah. It's for us coming in, it's been really interesting trying to catch up with everybody and figure everything out. I find some of the people are really easy for me to voice, you know what I mean, when I'm writing, and other people it's hard for me to get the voice of that person, and I want to stay true to the character as each author has written that character. I don't want them, you know, doing something that they wouldn't do. If you read a book and something happens in the book that isn't right, you know, it takes you out of the story. So I don't want to take anybody out of the story. So
well, I know that, you know, you're right on that, Joan. It's the same for me. If I'm using someone else's character, I want to make sure I'm true to that character's personality as the person who created them. And I know that Joe was saying he was sort of nervous because he used Reese Sovereign a lot, and that if he'd get Sovereign right, and man, he just picked Sovereign up like that. It was just like magic. I said, man, I could have written that, you know, it was just perfect. So, you know, I think it takes getting into the other, really kind of the other person's head, you know, and how they created this character, what's this character like, and you know, you have to kind of get in their head in order to then be faithful to that character.
That's true. And CW, those of us who were in it from the beginning, when we first began, we did like a character analysis of our primary characters and shared that. And I think that really helped us get going. And because then as each author is developing that character as we go. And CW has been really good about keeping a list of the businesses and all of the different prominent figures in the town and the positions that they hold. For example, all of the attorneys, the banker, the primary characters that are going to help run the town. And
Go ahead. Charles has a really good point. I was actually going to say this, Charles. It says, remember, Joan, that is all about perspective. So some characters have a different view, and that's true.
Exactly.
The character that you're writing it from, that character is going to see people differently than the voice of whoever was, the author of that one. So,
well, it's just like taking witness statements to a crime. Everybody sees something different. So even the authors are going to present it differently a little bit from their perspective.
Charles Brakefield said, no view of characters will be the same. That is the fun of the series. And that's the true. And no character's view of the town or the people in it will be the same. And so, yeah. Robin Madrich said, so no one will write that the Reverend was a former stripper or anything like that. Well,
we don't know. We don't know that.
Yeah, don't put your money down on that one.
You never know about Magnolia Bluff. Nothing is the same as what it appears, right? Nothing is.
It's all smoke and mirrors, folks. You never know. Robin's really laughing right now. You don't know who's the serial murderer either. You don't know what's going on in Magnolia Bluff. If any of you watch Midsummer, this is the American Midsummer.
Yes, it is.
I agree.
Charles Brakefield says, oh, wow, can I use that? Hey, the man's here. Which one, the serial murderer or the stripper? Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, CW has sent us all of those characters that you all first did and sent in. So we had all of that before we even started.
That helped.
We had read some.
Yeah, we had to rent a storage unit to put all the papers in there.
Right.
There's so much paper.
Well,
you needed
I have mine in a notebook.
Pretty much.
And what you were talking about is that gap between writing that book. I think that's a huge deal. And so I've actually been thinking, I think we should start writing next year's book as soon as we finish this year's book. The only problem with that idea is, though, that then people are going to get murdered and become strippers and all kinds of stuff that we're going to have to weave into the book after we've already written it. So there's that problem.
That word stripper really stuck, didn't it?
It did. I liked it. I like the way Robin thinks. Oh my goodness.
Well, it's a typical small town.
A typical small town.
Yeah. Oh,
maybe it has its a little more murder than most towns.
Yeah. A few
per capita. Yeah,
a few hundred.
What was the name of that television series a million years ago?
Murder, She Wrote?
No, further back than that. And it was about a town where all this stuff happened. And for the longest, Peyton Place. Yeah.
Oh, Peyton Place.
Yeah.
So it's like Peyton Place.
Yeah.
Harper Valley.
Robin said, I think we think alike, Joan. Oh, I know we think alike, Robin. Along with Joy and Beth. And we do think alike. Indeed. Yeah. Magnolia Bluff is like a Peyton Place. It looks all perfect and nice on the outside, and underneath everything is just bubbling.
It makes you think about the people who can come up with all of these ideas too. I think we have to admit that we're all a little quirky.
Yeah. It's like what I wrote at the end here. Magnolia Bluff, Texas, a quiet and friendly little town, a good place to raise a family, a place where neighbor greets neighbor, and a place where murder waits in the wings.
Yeah. I like that so much.
Yeah.
And sometimes that neighbor greets you with a bullet, huh?
Yeah, or a knife.
Or knife.
Or a knife.
Yeah.
I know someone was asking me recently about my writing, and I said, well, I have a little bit of the Christian influence in the story, and I try to be very kind to people, but then I kill them. And they said, that's not Christian at all.
Well, convert them first.
Oh, yeah. Then
Christians do a lot of unchristian things, actually.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to get, Reverend Cole to kind of do that, get them converted and then kill them before they sin and spoil it all.
There you go. Perfect plan.
That works. Joe Conjal says, Magnolia Bluff is the town everyone wants to visit, the town where no one gets
out alive.
Right.
It's kind of like Twilight.
Yep. The reservoir is slowly filling up with dead bodies.
Fish food.
Yeah. We all have to think of different ways of murdering people. Yeah. I know. There's something really wrong with all of us.
Which author wrote the book about all the different ways you could murder someone? She's a contemporary author.
I don't know.
Charles Manson.
No.
Not that person. It's a young day. And the whole book is about all the different ways you could kill somebody.
I don't know how you could even list that.
I don't either, because people are always thinking of other ways.
Exactly. I mean, there's all kinds of different ways to kill somebody. So
Robin Madrich says, I worked for a police department. I might be able to give you some ideas.
Now a good way to do it is you put the person, hog tie them, throw them in a vat of lye, and you get the lye boiling, and then you just empty the sludge out into the sewer.
Wow.
You gave that some thought.
There's
But
one.
do not make that man angry at you.
You could.
That was a great idea.
I always thought death by chocolate literally would be great. Someone be dumped into a vat of chocolate.
Death by chocolate. Yeah.
Robin Madrich says, oh my God. I know. It could have been a little bit more gory, couldn't it? No.
Well, I write horror stories too,
Yeah, I saw the list of horror stories today when I was looking up your books. Now that I've finished this one, I've got to catch up on my reading. So I was going through and ordering books today to add to my stack I've already got.
Robin says, that explains it. Joe Conjal said, we'd all be arrested if anyone saw our business. Actually, my brother worked for he was Secret Service for years until he retired, and he worked for part of the time in the electronics division, where I guess I can't talk about that a lot, but it does make me nervous when I do searches like that. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is Big Brother watching us? Charles Brakefield says, oh, do come along, throw them into a vat of acid and make sure their dentures are gone too. See, now when you're going to do that, then you have to look up what kind of acid dissolves what. This is what a lot of our Google searches are like. Okay. Can acid dissolve teeth? Can acid dissolve gold? Can acid dissolve a diamond?
Well, that's why I choose lye, because lye, you don't need any of that. It just like dissolves everything.
Everything.
Especially when it's boiling.
It dissolves bone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enamel.
Yep. You know,
Wow.
people, when they die, sometimes they donate their body to science and stuff. Well, there is a small movement of where people want their bodies just simply dissolved in lye. So there's really nothing left. So it's not it doesn't pollute the earth or anything or take up plot space in a cemetery. And lye does that. You're just sludge down in the sewer and you're gone.
Well, that
just sounds so heartless.
It also sounds like you're kind of polluting the planet with lye, lye sludge.
It's an incentive to get bottled water, huh?
There you go.
Robin says, whoa.
I think we're going off the edge here a little bit. Huh?
We're getting more into the horror.
That's why Facebook knocked us off tonight.
I don't know why I don't know what the deal is between StreamYard and Facebook.
Between StreamYard and Facebook, yeah.
But
because every one of our pages went down, all 4 of them.
I just wonder if the weather has a lot to do with it in the atmosphere.
All the cold and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know, but
yeah,
I know our internet's been very slow up here the last few days.
Yeah.
Usually we'll get a note from StreamYard the next day saying we've had some issues with Facebook. Sorry, we're taking care of them.
Yeah.
The day after.
It's
like,
yeah,
thanks.
Yeah.
Joy York says, wow, a person who would do that wouldn't be concerned about the environment. And she said, you have to be hardcore to do that. No conscience. And Nassim says, oh dear, Chris, you are scaring me now. Shall I warn my sister?
No, you don't have to. She already knows.
And Joe Condrell says, Linda says it's heartless, but she'll probably use lye in her next book.
Hey, Joe. You never know what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But, a few minutes ago, Joan, you mentioned that you wanted to just go ahead and write your next book as soon as you finish that one.
I was thinking about that, yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do, because you can go ahead and get it written, and then as you read the other people's works, you can go back and modify it. And
that's what I was saying.
At least the hard part will be done.
Yeah,
exactly. To me, the hardest part is getting started.
I do too. And then there'll be no time pressure or anything,
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to tell Joe not to worry about Linda, because Linda is not a liar. Liar? Lie? Oh, never mind.
Well, I've been sitting here wondering what you were thinking. Now we know.
You know why he married me? I laugh at his jokes. Nobody else
that was
did.
A good move.
Steve says, love you, Chris. And Robin's, oh, wait a minute. Dad joke alert, Joe Conjal said. And Robin said, boo, Rob.
Sorry.
Oh my gosh. It is. He met me and I laughed at all his jokes, and he was like, oh my God, this is the woman for me. She thinks I'm funny.
I bet he was the clown in all the classrooms too.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Or were you shy?
I think he was shy.
Well, I don't know. We had a chemistry class in high school where we brought in a little hot dog rotisserie cooker thing, and we each had our little lab tables, but the teacher didn't know we were making hot dogs. That was fun. It was a nice snack.
And I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, right? So somebody had to be a class clown. There were no boys. And we all went out and bought those little chameleons. Back when I was in high school, you could buy chameleons on a leash in a pin and wear them as a brooch. And we had these, uniforms, and we pinned them underneath our jumpers and would just sit there in class like we were paying attention, and these little lizards would crawl out from under our jumpers and be crawling all around. Freak the nuns out. No end. It was fun. We did get into a lot of trouble about it.
I can imagine.
Charles Brakefield said, okay, I'm stuck on Robin's comment about the Reverend coming from Chippendale's lineup as his stripper.
Maybe she wears all those long sleeves and long skirts because she's hiding tattoos.
Where hides the tattoos.
Yeah, that's where you close up.
Well, I don't know. We might find out in this book.
Okay.
Well,
yeah.
Why don't we tell everybody your information again?
Go ahead. You can tell them whatever you want.
Okay. Because I'm not a liar. CW, your website is www.cwhawes.com. And your email to contact you is cwhawes@cwhawes.com. And your book giveaway, it's already in progress, may already be given away, we don't know. But the first 3 people to email cwhawes@cwhawes.com will win an ebook copy of Who Mourns Electra upon the February release. Okay, got that, everybody? All right, so we got that. Linda, find your book information on indiebooksource.com and indiebooksource.com/books-by-linda-pirtle. And to reach you by email, it's lsgp2019@yahoo.com. And your book giveaway is the first 3 people to email lsgp2019@yahoo.com will win an ebook copy of Girlfriend Retreat, ... cheaper than therapy upon the March release. And our information.
And one person can win a paperback autograph copy.
That's right.
In the United States only.
Right. Okay, so we got that. And then our website is carternovels.com. And our email is carternovels@aol.com. Our book giveaway is the first 3 people to email carternovels@aol.com will win an ebook copy of A Chance of a Ghost upon release in April. Okay.
And I think that Crispian is busy working on your cover.
He is, yeah.
So he hasn't even started on ours yet.
No.
Yeah, I just sent him the information this past week, and it usually doesn't take him very long to get something back to you. And the problem is you have so many choices. It's hard to decide which version you want.
Oh, Robin says, this has been a lot of fun. I hate to run, but I must. LOL. Great show and have a good night, all. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin.
We're going to be running pretty soon, too, I think.
I think so, too. It has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And CW had said to us when we did the pre-show that we had seemed a little bit, more stressed in our last few shows. And I said, yeah, it's the time constraint. It's stressing me out. No doubt. It was his idea to say sayonara to Atlanta at an hour, and then we can continue with the show and everybody can get everything in. I hate like heck making you guys have to fit everything into a short period of time when, the audience has questions. And
so we weren't relaxed tonight because Facebook took a dive right at the beginning. It was like,
you weren't, that bothered you. I could tell that.
You just have to learn to be flexible and go with the flow.
Well, we have all the other channels.
So I'll be 77 in March. Do you think I can eventually learn to be flexible?
I don't know, perhaps. I've always been pretty flexible. As long as everybody does what I tell them to do.
That's the key. That's the key, right?
I'm not saying an old dog can't learn new tricks, but I'm
Well, I
saying
think we discover in our writing that usually our protagonist mirrors a lot of our own personality.
that's interesting. Gosh, I hope not. No, yeah, I think that that's true. I do think that that's true. Actually, I'm thinking about the book already now. I know that that was true in two of the women in our other series. Definitely were a lot of me and the way I think. Yeah.
Yeah, in my first series, the games we play, everybody says Lillian is Linda Pirtle. And if you notice, their initials are exactly the same.
That's funny. That's funny. And Charles Brakefield says, Brakefield. I'm sorry, Charles. I'm wrecking your name tonight. Charles Brakefield says, Linda, I resemble that remark. Yeah, I think that's true though. I'm trying to decide whether it's who we are or who we'd like to be.
I think it's both.
It could be a little of both. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's both.
Yeah.
Well, we are writing it. So, you know what I mean? We're going to be here.
You know, in the book that I'm working right now, I had one beta reader go through it, and that person also knows all of the people that my characters are. And the feedback that I got from that person was, you nailed everybody's personality, even in the make-believe things that happened.
That's wonderful.
And she said I could actually see them doing some of the things that they do in the book.
That's great.
That is good. Quite a compliment.
I know that. I think it's a really great compliment.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah.
What's funny to me is some of the people we know who think that they are characters in our books.
I've had that happen too. Yeah.
And they're not, but but they identify with them, and they were like, "Oh,
exactly, yeah, exactly,
yeah."
Especially in the games we play, I have one character who's rather feisty, and she's always packing her gun with her. And I have a friend who thinks that's her, but it isn't.
We have a character. Actually, it's one of my favorite characters in our book, and she's not the main character, but I just really love her and her personality and stuff. And she's crazy about guns. She's always packing guns. She always wants to teach everybody how to use a gun. If she has to take a gun out on the job, she's like, you know. And our niece is a sheriff, and she thinks that that's her.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to think that Tony Razzolito, the Razzman, is the cooler version of me. LOL. That's right.
There you go. Joe Conjul 2.0.
Yeah.
There you go.
You got an advantage there, Joe. I don't think I'd want to be a whole lot like Justinia, right?
No, but you could be Harry.
You could be Harry.
Yeah, I could be, Harry Wright. Yeah. Well, I kind of am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you are. You know more about coffee, but
I don't like coffee. But
I know you don't. But you've done a lot of research.
I have.
So did we, and we added coffee to your shop. That's very expensive. It's the most expensive coffee in the world. Yep.
You know, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. Whether you're writing fiction, historical fiction, nonfiction, research is very important.
Mm-hmm. It is. You have to. Yeah. I like I was talking
Well,
about
actually, you don't
earlier.
have to. There's a lot of people who don't. But I mean, if you
And
want to
it-
write
it
something
shows,
good, yes.
too. It shows.
Okay.
Right?
Like I was saying earlier, if you don't, then if someone who's a scientist and you've stated some scientific fact, right? And the scientist is reading the book and what you just said is totally off, that's going to throw that person right out of the story.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't want that to happen. You want to keep everybody engaged. And so if you do want to keep everybody engaged, you have to do a lot of research, which is why our Google searches are like,
Well,
wacky doodle.
Unless you're writing science fiction, you don't have robots in a medieval story.
Right, exactly.
In a medieval
But then
setting.
you have historical research is really difficult because I've been writing this one book for like 8 years. It's about the life of Jezebel. There's very little that you can find about the Philistines and how they lived at that time. There's a lot of things that you can find, but a lot of the stuff that I've really been looking for has been hard to search out. But I think I probably just like doing the research, and the book's never going to get finished.
Well, the different tools that they used during different eras of time, and just the way they dressed is important.
Yep. And they were, and her family was very wealthy because they were the king and queen, which was also the high priest and high priestess of their religion. Were very wealthy because they were the only people that had the seashells that produce, purple, the color purple, which was, more valuable than gold back then. Joe Concha wants to know, do you whip up the kind of lunches Harry does, CW?
Are you talking about Harry Wright or Harry Thurgood?
Harry Thurgood, I bet.
Thurgood, I bet.
Because, well, I guess it doesn't matter. The answer is no.
The answer is no. It doesn't matter which one it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which character.
I just wanted to know. Charles Brakefield says, as a famous author once told me, the difference between fiction and nonfiction is that the fiction has to make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does. All right. We should probably end the show so that he says, right.
Right. Yeah. No, I don't.
No, he doesn't. So we should end.
Yeah.
PW has been a real trooper. He's having back problems and we've kept him too long as it is. We appreciate everybody that's been listening and that will listen. And thank you for persevering through all the Facebook problems.
Yeah, Facebook will be back online for next week, I'm sure. But if not, just go to Plan B and go over to YouTube, X, Twitter, or LinkedIn and watch there. They're all those links are all on all our stuff.
Joe Conjal says another fun and super show tonight. Thank you, CW, Linda, and of course, Robin Joan. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Comments.
Yeah, amen.
Thanks for hanging in there, everybody.
I know. Paul Hollis says another wonderful show. Thanks, Joan and Rob and Linda and CW. Thank you, Paul, so much. Charles Brakefield says, thanks for a great show. Thanks all. Yeah. Thank you, Charles. Really, we appreciate our audience.
Remind everybody to go to Amazon and download every one of the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles books. There's 20 of them. You got to catch up if you haven't started.
I got them all when they were all on sale. So just downloaded the whole thing at once. And I even have paperbacks of a lot of them, but I'm a Kindle reader. He's a paperback reader.
Paperback writer.
And reader.
CW, thank you. Linda, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Until next time.
That's all, folks.
Live every Wednesday, your Voice of Indie hosts Beam Weeks and Stephen G's welcome authors, musicians, publishing industry pros, artists, and assorted creative guests for an exciting interactive hour. Call in during the show or post questions and comments on Twitter for responses in real time. Meet your favorite indie creators, learn inside tips, network, and promote your work. The link for each week's show is pinned on Twitter atop @VoiceOfIndie, and you can receive the link every Wednesday morning in your inbox by subscribing to our newsletter at freshinkgroup.com. Check out Voice of Indie every Wednesday on Blog Talk Radio and catch hundreds of episodes archived everywhere from our websites to our YouTube channel and Spotify.
Thank you for joining us here on Meet the Author. Make sure you stay up to date with our show by clicking like, follow, and share. And you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and more. See you next time on WLFE-DV.com.